Welcome back, viewers. Sunrise proudly brought to you by Tigo Smart. You got Tigo, Ice Cool Mineral Water for the cool in you, and Papa Cosmetics for the beautiful shades of you. We're looking at the development of our country. Have we developed the country to reflect the 21st century? Other parts of the world you can see. Sometimes you can see communities and with similar landmarks. But you come to our country and you even move to the central business city where we have most of our business serious banks. Behind them, you can even see a slum. Is it what represents the development of our country? What should we do? In the studio, to look at this very important topic are two gentlemen from the Ghana Institution of Surveyors. They're holding the 8th week, the 8th Surveyors Week, and it's on the theme, Urban Renewal and Sustainable Redevelopment of Our Cities, Surveyors' Perspective. When it gets to themes and it gets to titles or accolades, Ghana, very good at that. You can see all the strong words. But when it gets to implementing and relating the strong words into reality, the dream is far from it. I have two gentlemen. We're going to be very critical and very transparent to ourselves and see if the future is bright or bleak. I have on the extreme right, Mr. Kingsley Boateng, member, Land Surveyors Division. Mr. Boateng, you're welcome.
Thank you.
To Sunrise. And then I have Kofi Yoson Ajay, who is the secretary of the 8th Surveyors Week Planning Committee. Yoson Ajay, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let me come straight to you. Mr. Kingsley Boateng, member Land Surveyors Division. Are you comfortable? Are you satisfied with the way you see our country in terms of development, design, and beauty? Are you comfortable with it? Are you satisfied with it as a professional?
Thank you for your viewers. I must say that as an engineer, as a surveyor, I'm not very comfortable because I walk around, I drive around, and I see that there's a lot we can do to make our city more livable. If you look at the construction of this N1 highway, you realize that over this short period, it has really changed our movement. You could move from Tetekwashi to Malam and to Cape Coast without much effort. It tells you that there's a lot we can do. There's a lot. And I think that we as technical people, if we can really make our voice heard, just as we've been here, then the sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit. Kofi Yoson Ajay,
Yes.
Secretary, a very strong title, Secretary, 8th Surveyors Week Planning Committee member. 8th Surveyors Week Planning Committee. The theme, Urban Renewal and Sustainable Redevelopment of Our Cities, the Surveyor's Perspective. Are you sure that you will finish the week and for 2013 we will see the interpretation of the strong theme in this country?
Yes. Yes.
Or it's just words?
It's not that just words. What we are planning to do is that we've taken stock of the fact that, you see, a city is a living thing. It grows, and then we have to prune it as it grows. If you look at Accra, we have certain locations like lorry parks, which have outlived their usefulness. They are not supposed to be in the center. So we have taken stock of certain hotspots in the city and realized that there is a need to renew these services to make it more effective in terms of the convenience and the comfort it takes. But to make an impact on the city, as it were, we have to dialogue with those that have the power and the decision to carry across what we come out as a community. So the challenge that we will have, to the extent to which policymakers and those who are in the position to take decisions on this matter will listen to us and adopt what we tell them, to that extent, what we are going to deliberate on will be seen in the public domain.
Mr. Boateng, when you were talking renewal, redevelopment, then you are talking of relocation of businesses. You are talking of what you'll be using the word demolition. Are you a friend of the people? Immediately you want to redesign and redevelop. Then some structures must go. Some people will have to be moved. Are you therefore conscious that you would not be a friend of wherever your community that you are going to touch to redesign and let it fit the 21st century?
Well, I think that obviously a price has to be paid. And for us to be able to renew and then redevelop the city, then we need to go down to the people, talk to the people, let the people acknowledge and appreciate that there's a need for renewal and redevelopment so that we can all move forward. If you don't do that, you cannot achieve anything.
How do you convince them that we need to renew and redevelop the community? Are you therefore suggesting that we are not making good use of the land space available to us?
Indeed, we are not optimizing the land space we have. Like my brother said, location of some calorie parks, location of some offices. If you look at the Tekwashik interchange, for instance, you look at the design of the interchange, and then you look at the location of the mall and some other facilities, you realize that it's creating a lot of hindrances on traffic movements. It tells you that the whole place has to be re-engineered. And this is a typical example.
It's a typical example. Now this one therefore calls for money.
Of course.
It calls for huge investment. And what we are afraid of as a third world country is that they will tell you that resources are supposed to be distributed to encourage a total development of the country. Therefore, those who are supposed to distribute these resources, are they ready to listen to you? You'll be an enemy of progress. You want me to take this money that somebody would tell you, the politician would say that is supposed to go for schools, supposed to go for hospitals. This surveyors are saying that I should take it to go and redesign maybe Jamestown to make it much more attractive and therefore relocate and make it much more modern.
Okay. You see, there's a saying that you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. So of course this development agenda comes with its pain. But with the right consultation and engagement, government need not provide all the funds. We are here calling for investors. So if there is legislation, for instance, that this part of Accra, we intend pulling down all the structures, redevelop them into maybe high-rise buildings, investors will move in. Now you see pockets of development springing up because of private initiative. But while legislation and that conscious effort is put in place, people will resist, who want his building pulled out. But that is why we have given government that power to sometimes even do things that we are uncomfortable with, but at the end of the day, it benefits all of us. So if the right framework is done, consultation is done, and the rest, I believe that the private sector will also move in, because occasionally private investors engage owners of buildings. That is why we occasionally see a building that was old suddenly is redeveloped. But we are not doing it consciously.
Consciously. Mr. Boateng, what do we pay for not respecting the redesigning of our cities or renewal and redesigning of our environment? Do we have a price to pay for that?
We pay so much. We pay very much. You look at man hours loss and then lack of revenue in terms of taxation and whatnot. Because if I have to drive, let's say, I don't know whether you've ever observed people coming from Kasua.
Sure. I live at Waja, so I
wonderful. You will see that almost all the people coming with their kids in the car are sleeping. Yeah. It tells you that they started driving around 3:30 or 4. And so you see that the driving time is about 8 or 7 hours per day. And that is really man hours. That could be used for very productive work. And I tell you, we are losing so much for not renewing and redeveloping our city.
Right, but then let me still stay with you. Now, have the surveyor established this for people to even acknowledge that we need to involve the surveyor in the designing or the springing up of communities in our cities? Have the surveyors established that fact? that you are very important, that therefore the politician or government should turn and listen to you, so that you just don't make suggestions that would not be used?
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the major reasons why we are here is to make our voice heard.
Ghana is over 57 years old.
Yeah.
And now if you're still trying to make your voice heard, then it means we can go the 100, we can go the century with still remaining this way. So you always come to the studio and we'll be talking and we'll not get anywhere. Do people believe that you have an important part to play in making Ghana a modern community? Do they believe that?
Yes, I think so. I think so because the type of service surveyors render is more widespread. Because if you take anything that has to do with land, in fact, I'm from the land sector, land division of the what I call land surveyor, and you realize that our activity cuts across when it comes to property acquisition, boundary demarcation, construction, monitoring. You saw this Malcolm thing come down. I tell you, if we have to monitor the structure very well, and of course all other high-rise structures, we could tell you that as a high-rising building sitting down there, it keeps oscillating. I tell you, you'll be surprised to know the extent to which some of these buildings oscillate.
And do you make your voice heard?
We do because
and when they are not respecting your voice, what do? You keep quiet. You have kept quiet for 57 years.
Well, I don't think
you can still keep quiet for the next 43 years to make us 100 years.
I don't think so. That is why we have the team Urban Renewal.
Yeah.
If we were keeping quiet, then we wouldn't have come up with such a team.
A theme.
We are here because we think that something has to be done. And that is why we are taking on this annual general meeting such an interesting theme, and then going across to make our presence felt, and then coming out with a communique so that this will be communicated to the policymakers for them to appreciate. I tell you honestly, if you have to locate my house, I'll tell you, drive to this place. When you see the watcher seller, go by this way. When you see the banku seller, that is wrong.
What about if he's not there?
What about you go and the watcher seller is not there?
Today she didn't cook.
Today she didn't cook.
So you can't find my house today.
This means that we need up-to-date maps.
Maps.
I tell you, maps.
You brought in another important, interesting point. Committee member, secretary to the committee. There are some maps on our streets, some maps you buy, and then the surveyors, your own institution of surveyors will tell you this is not a correct map. How do we have fake maps?
Oh, fake maps come as a result of the source from which the map comes. We have the surveying and mapping division of the Lands Commission, which does these maps, and they do accurate, positioning of landmarks and all that. So if the map is purchased from the right source.
How do I purchase? I'm a tourist, I moved into Ghana, I want to drive around well. I have to go for a map and I see somebody selling a map in the road, and then a roadside, and I buy the map, and the map is not the correct indication of the city. How do I know?
If you come into the country, I don't know, as an investor, normally people go through the GIPC. You have a list of all the sources, tourists, hotels, and the rest. And the survey and mapping division is there as the right place to buy
them.
Yes.
Now let me quickly look at this. The current state of our cities. Let's take Accra, the current state of Accra.
Okay, now if I should say that the current state of Accra as we have it now is a city that is gradually, I would say in quotes, dying. Why? Because...
Why are you trying to dress the words? Is a dead city or is a city dying?
Not dead yet, at least we are living in it and it's functioning.
But the city is not living. The city has no life.
To some extent it is living, but there's that, it is dying, as I said. So there should be that conscious effort to get things moving. You see, there is resistance to all sort of activity. If you look at the area around where ICGC, the head church is, right down to Agbogbleshi, where this Kole
Lagoon.
If you look at the planning scheme, it's beautiful.
But it can never be
It's
implemented.
supposed to be a tourist attraction where you can sit in a boat from somewhere circle and sail all the way down there to where they call the Lavender Hill.
Yes.
I don't know, you know that area. But the point is that we have these people at the Sodom and Gomorrah place who are making the project difficult. So we need that political will to say that we have to move them. You dissolve the Odo drain, and then you still leave people living along the banks. So the filth goes out, and the people bring them in again. The AMA is claiming that they spend millions of Ghana cedis a month, a year to clean rubbish. Why don't you do the right thing? Sack these people from the place and use the money that you are wasting to just collect rubbish to redevelop the city.
Now, Mr. Boateng, if we look at the city Accra, and we would ask, if I should ask you as a professional, if we have the facilities, if we have the resources, and the political will is there, how many years would it take us to make Accra what you would want Accra to look like?
Everything being equal, I think within 5 years we should be
within
able to
5 years
within 5 years we should be able to transform Accra. How many years did it take to build the N1? About 80 months.
80 months.
Yes. It means that 5 years we can do a lot. I tell you, just imagine if we had, let's say, this Ofankor Circle Road running through Accra uninterrupted, and then just discharging the traffic. Or looking at motorway, if motorway will be re-engineered such that you have other people, other interchanges on it. You realize that the intent of the Accra Tema motorway was to bridge Tema and Accra, which are those times industrial, whatever, and then as Trans-ECOWAS Road. Now, it has outlived its use. Now, it's no more the highway that we used to know, but it's now part of the urban road. And so why don't we engineer it? Why don't we create other discharging points? Why do you drive all the way to Tema before you discharge? Why do you drive from Tema all the way to Accra if I'm going to Adjugano? Why do I come to Tetekwashi before I go to Adjugano? It should discharge, it should just get me off the road. That is why you have a lot of people trooping in unauthorized, and it's creating a lot of problems. I tell you, we need to re-engineer a lot of things.
Immediately you talk re-engineering and you're talking facilities. Now let me ask this critical question. Your Senator J. Do you have the human resource skill and then the legal framework to effectively redevelop and renew the city of Accra?
Okay, for the first one, the human resource capacity, I might say that we have more than that.
We have more than
necessary. In fact, if anything, it is more than necessary for this small country. Because if you talk even about surveyors alone, we have the KNUST churning out surveyors in the 3 categories, more than 150 a year. Then we have engineers, planners, all coming out. But the point is that their use is not being taken effectively. They are there.
So what are they doing then?
No, what I'm saying is
it a huge frustration then?
Very huge.
Do you look frustrated?
I am. In fact, sitting in this studio and talking about this, for me, looks like just talk, but we still have to talk. But those that have to drive the whole thing do not listen, unfortunately. So the first one, we have it. We have very good seasoned planners in this country who can take things and change it around. But the people that have to make the change happen is where we have a problem. Now the legal framework is not there, though we have bylaws and legislation that tackle a few things. But if you want to go into serious renewal and re-engineering thing, you need effective legislation that says that this is how we want this part of Accra to look like. The law is passed. Property owners will be affected. We have to move on.
Mr. Boateng, what is your observation? What is your comment on the issue that because of the lack of proper legal framework, surveyors therefore are illegal with landowners, chiefs, and they even they go survey the land and mark and sell. They encourage the sale of one piece of land to 10 people, and they are healthy partners in this very bad practice. What is your view? Is it true?
I wouldn't say it is true. To begin with, how can I go through all this training to be a professional and then indulge in such activity? Honestly,
when I'm a frustrated professional, I have to make money.
Well, of course.
So then I can use that as the means of making money. I should be part of society.
You can have all the knots being good. 1 or 2 may be bad, but honestly, the nature of our work is such that if, let's say, the measurement of this is 6 centimeters, and you say it is 10, anybody who comes could tell that it is 6 centimeters. So surveying is such that, by our training, is such that whatever you do should be self-checking. You don't need an angel from heaven to say that what you have done is right. However, you have a lot of quack in the system who are condoning and conniving with these chiefs and doing this multiple sales. And we as an institution have tried to get them out, but still, because you realize that most of the chiefs don't go in for the professionals. They always say, "Oh, your prices are high. Your prices are high."
But your prices high.
They are not high.
Are you sure your prices are not high?
They are not.
If the people who own the lands are saying your prices are high, then it means your prices are high. Can you go down on your prices so that they can use you?
I think the prices are being regulated by the institution, and so I don't think that they are high. Once the prices are being regulated by the institution is part of the whole body that makes sure your life is livable in the country, and so I don't think that the institution will make prices so exorbitant for people not to be able to engage
the good professionals in this way.
But I think there should be some legislation that would entreat chiefs to engage professional surveyors. Probably document their surveys.
That's right. Now, I think what is extremely unfortunate is any time that you have a very major thing, the evil of it is time. Time is fast running. Yes. So if I should give each one of you 1 minute each, we're looking at the 8 Surveyors Week with this very important title. Yeah. What do you hope to achieve 1 year on when I invite you back into the studio to look at 2014 and the new theme? What would you want me to see for 2013?
Yeah, before I come to that, I want to briefly outline our activities. Yeah. Tomorrow, 16th February, we are having fun games at the Aviation Social Center.
Why fun games?
Oh, it's
you're talking serious land issues.
It's a week long, so I'll get to the serious issues. So we're having an interdivisional games with the family and members of the institution. That is tomorrow, Saturday. Then Monday will be the press conference where we will engage the media to usher in the program. Tuesday we'll do some charity donation at the Nsawam prison where we're going to visit the prison. Maybe we'll have some idea about prison renewal as well. Then Thursday is the opening ceremony at Gimpa. And then we'll have lectures on 2 topics of relevance to the theme. And then the next day is a presidential lecture by the president of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors on the theme. And then in the afternoon we'll have the AGM. Yes. Then we climax the whole program with the presidential ball at the banquet hall on Saturday evening, where the new president will be invested with the governing council.
With a whole fanfare around it.
Yeah, very big.
That's so what I think you have lost the opportunity. You have used your one minute to talk about. So then I gave Mr. Boateng the opportunity to tell me 2013, this is the team. 2014, a year on, if I bring you back into the studio, what would you want to be saying about the team?
I must say that we're still working around, and we're hoping that the policymakers will give an ear to whatever we tell them. And for me, if we have up-to-date maps and then get all the various land users to come together and then plan the city. What has been happening is that we've been planning it ad hocly. ECG has its own plan, Ghana Water has its own plan, the VRA has its own plan, that kind of a thing. But we need to have a coherent and a comprehensive planning. Then it can be implemented to make the city renewed. Other than that, we can do nothing. Because
other than that, then I have to go back to Mr. Yosinajie, who is saying that it's a dying city. Then you would get to my situation when I said it's already a dead city. Right. So next year, Today being the 15th of February, the year of our Lord 2013, the same date next year, I would want you, because I know that it's an annual affair, so you'll be holding that one for 2014. I would want the two of you back in the studio, and we'll be talking about if we have achieved the team. Viewers, been talking to two gentlemen. I have Kofi Yosenaje, who is secretary of the 8th Surveyors Week Planning Committee, and I have Kingsley Boateng, who is a member of the Planning Committee.